Hey all, welcome to SLB Basement Bourbon Bar. My name is Kurt. I'm always trying to find different spirits to broaden your horizons per se and open your mind to different types of spirits to enjoy other than bourbon. Now don't get me wrong, bourbon's fantastic, we all know that, but there's so much out there that we can enjoy for decent pricing. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to discuss my personal 5 favorite whiskeys that we have down here at SLB Basement Bourbon Bar. These aren't bourbons, they're not ryes, they're just labeled whiskeys. So as always in the comments, if you can give me your recommendations, I would certainly appreciate that. But let's get started right now on the list. Very first one I want to show you today, the very first whiskey, Uncle Nearest, 1884. This bottle cost me about 40 bucks and comes in at 93 proof. The brand Uncle Nearest was first launched in 2017 and is named in honor of the first African-American master distiller on record, Nearest Green. This 1884 small batch premium whiskey was blended by the 5th generation Green descendant, Victoria Edie Butler. You know, not only does this specific whiskey have an amazing history and an amazing story, it's also an excellent whiskey for 40 bucks. You get a little bit of some sweetness there with a type of a caramel corn. Then it comes in with like a little bit of a toasted bread. And there is a little bit of spice in there too, like a cinnamon spice. So very, very nice, easy on the palate, and a very nice sipper for 40 bucks. The next bottle I have for you, Straight of Hands, Blue Peak single malt whiskey. This Straight of Hands bottle cost me 40 bucks and is 86 proof. Named after a 13,000 foot peak in Aspen and inspired by the alpine scenery of the Rocky Mountain, Blue Peak is built around a small batch of single malt whiskey that has been handcrafted at a high altitude and aged for 4 years. Then it's combined with the other single malts in a larger barrel for several months. I picked this particular bottle specifically for the flavor profile for 40 bucks. Keep that in mind, 40 bucks. It has a beautiful apricot note to it right from the beginning. It hits you with some apricot and then comes in with a nice sweet honey note, a little bit of vanilla, but you do get some malty notes in there too, more towards the back palate and into the finish because this is a single malt. Keep that in mind. But it has some amazing fruity apricot flavors up at the beginning, nice and bright, edgy, and a little bit of honey. It's an excellent buy for 40 bucks. Next one I have in the line for you here, you're going to like this one. Mikters Sour Mash Whiskey. This bottle cost me about 45 bucks and comes in at 86 proof. This Sour Mash Whiskey was extremely popular in the 70s and 80s before the distillery closed in 1989. It wasn't until 2012 that we saw Mikters US1 Original Sour Mash again with its reintroduction into the market. Unable to be labeled bourbon or rye, it is produced with nearly 50% corn with the remainder being rye save a small amount of barley. Let me just say, at the beginning, very beginning of my bourbon and whiskey journey, I hooked on to this Mikters Sour Mash. The proof point is perfect, especially for those of you out there that are relatively beginning in your whiskey journey. The proof point's perfect. It has a little bit of a more high rye content, so there is a little bit of spice to give it some backbone. But other than that, boy, it has some really nice, rich and sweet flavors, some butterscotch, vanilla. To me, it's nice and creamy. It's just a real beautiful drinking experience for 45 bucks. I mean, really nice, and it really holds a special place to my heart. One of my very first bottles that I've ever purchased right here. All right, next in line. I love this one, absolutely love it. Tin Cup 10 Year. This Tin Cup 10 Year American whiskey cost me 50 bucks and is 84 proof. This whiskey is bourbon style whiskey, combining a high rye bourbon distilled and aged at MGP with a small amount of Stranahan single malt added to the mix. Each whiskey used in the blend has been aged in char No. 3 barrels, then cut down to proof using Colorado's Rocky Mountain water. Honest truth, I was in the liquor store, I was trying to find something new. I mean, Trent and I, we're always looking, we're always thinking, you know, what's out there? What can we get? What can we show you that's going to be a relatively new product? I stumbled across this, and it's a 10-year whiskey. I'll be truthful with you, I didn't even know it wasn't a bourbon until I got it home and started researching a little bit, but I saw it was a 10-year whiskey, $50, and I thought, honestly, I don't have any more tin cup here other than this bottle. Do you have any tin cup at home, Trent? No tin cup, so never even tried it. But I saw 10-year, I saw $50. Let's give it a shot. Let me just tell you something. For 84 proof, I've never had a more flavorful whiskey than this bottle right here. I know the proof is lower. I know there's a lot of you out there that think you have to have a barrel proof or a higher proof. Get close to that 100 proof to get a good full flavor. Not with this bottle. This bottle right here is truly an amazing whiskey. It opens up with some real sweet oak and then hits you with some vanilla and brown sugar. There's also some fruity tone in there. It's like an orange. It's very creamy. It's deep. There's some depth to it. There's a journey to it. Amazing. For 84 proof, what you get with this bottle for $50. I love this one. Hey, the last one I want to show you. You guys know these are fantastic. Old Elk straight wheated whiskey. This Old Elk release cost me $65 and is 100 proof. This wheated whiskey is made with a mash bill of 95% soft red winter wheat and 5% malted barley. It is then aged for 5 years and bottled at 50 ABV using a slow cut proofing, adding Colorado mountain water to bring the whiskey to bottling proof over weeks instead of days. We went over an Old Elk not that long ago in a previous video, and it was a wheated bourbon. It was fantastic. Well, these Old Elk people, they really know what they're doing. This particular wheated whiskey here is absolutely fantastic. It's 100 proof, so it has a little bit more proof to it, but it's going to hit you right off the bat with a beautiful maple syrup type sweetness, but that's going to kick in right after that with some spice notes like cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, all that kind of stuff. A beautiful whiskey there, nice and viscous, nice and creamy. A wonderful journey to this bottle as well. A fantastic buy, in my opinion, for $65. Hey, that's all we have for you today. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. Maybe think of one of these bottles, pick it up, see what you think. It's not bourbon, I get that. It's whiskey, but hey, it's doggone good. As always, we ask you to please drink responsibly. We'll see you next time, right down here with me in the good old basement bourbon bar. See you later.